So Casey, where do you think we need to go with the prison meditation work?
I see 4 points. I see one, we need a big umbrella. And we need the big umbrella so that we can include all the data, we can include the various programs so that when a prison says, you know, what have you got? We can say this works here, this works there, this is statistics. And parallel with that, we need to take and secularize the practice and so we can make it relevant to correction officers, make it relevant to inmates, make it relevant to staff.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, our experience with faith-based approaches of bringing meditation into prisons, I mean, the movement has really grown, but you get programs with 5 inmates, 10 inmates, you're going to get 2-3% of the population. And if we really want to impact what's happening in the world of corrections and prisons and jails, we need to get it into mainstream treatment programming, mainstream rehabilitation programming.
And the mainstream is good for the inmates, but it's even more important for the correction officers and staff, because they are under an incredible amount of pressure, and they've got to be able to take their work and leave it at the prison so that when they come home, they're a different person. They can't bring their work home, they can't bring their mechanisms for treating problems home. You know, the prison has to stay in the prison and the home has to stay in the home.
Yeah, I think the real goal at this point is to establish mindfulness-based interventions, whether it's mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral work or other mindfulness-based interventions, as evidence-based practice for corrections. I mean, right now, the only kind of work that's considered evidence-based or research-based is the cognitive behavioral work. And so I think if we can establish mindfulness-based interventions as evidence-based, I think the field of corrections is going to have a real hunger for it, because all the research out in the general population now is showing that not only will mindfulness-based approaches improve learning outcomes and change outcomes for the prisoners, but it's also going to inoculate the guards against all the traumatic effects of working in that field. And we know that it's a very toxic environment for both the prisoners and the guards have all kinds of problems with substance abuse and divorce and depression and suicide and so forth. So all these mindfulness-based interventions in the community, the research is showing improvements in all these areas. So it really seems like a no-brainer to get this mainstreamed into the field of corrections. The question is having the resources to do it. I mean, we barely have the resources now as a field across the country to source, you know, the fairly small populated faith-based meditation programs.